my career, had a talk with me and said, did I realize what I was doing, that I was taking a tremendous risk being...
When fame and fortune are at your fingertips, what would you do? For many icons in Hollywood, the answer was simple. Give it all up for faith. Here are 10 Golden Age actresses who left Hollywood for God.
I often wish I knew more about gardening. Do you think I ought to take it up?
Only if you think you'd like it.
Number 10. Jane Wyman. From a little girl who dreamed of stardom to an Oscar-winning actress and a woman of God, Jane Wyman has one of the most interesting coming-of-faith stories in the industry. Religion was more than a guiding hand for the buzzing actress. It was a path that became her legacy. Born on January 5, 1917 as Sarah Jane Mayfield, Wyman's early life was far from a fairy tale. Her parents divorced when she was just 4, and her father passed away the next year. For many, such hardships could have been overwhelming, especially for a young, innocent child. But her determination remained unshaken. Wyman set her sights on becoming a bright star in Hollywood, with all of the fame and fortune coming with it. It never came on a silver platter, though. Wyman sweated her way through countless bit roles in the 1930s until her breakthrough in films like The Lost Weekend and, most notably, Johnny Belinda, where her performance as a deaf-mute girl not only earned her critical acclaim, but also a well-deserved Oscar. Reminiscent of the kind, humble middle-aged neighbors who took care of Wyman, the actress kept a low profile and never fell into the traps of fame. She loved acting, but refused to embrace the destructive baggage that sunk many Hollywood destinies. Nevertheless, life tested Wyman in ways no script ever could. Her highly publicized divorce from Ronald Reagan and the devastating loss of her child left scars she would carry forever. Her performance in The Blue Veil, a story of a grieving mother, mirrored her own life. She poured her pain into the role, earning yet another Academy Award nomination. But what if I told you that the film was the start of her spiritual journey? Yes, Wyman was drawn to the Catholic faith while filming near St. Patrick's Cathedral. She would later step away from the spotlight and devote herself to her faith and charity work, giving generously to causes that mattered most to her. Christian foundations like Sacred Heart Church in Palm Desert, Our Lady of Angels Monastery in Hollywood, and the Arthritis Foundation all benefited from her quiet generosity. As a matter of fact, she once gave away the sum of $100,000 to a church to improve its facilities. When Jane Wyman passed away on September 10, 2007, at the age of 90, she left this world as humbly as she had lived. Dressed in the Dominican habit, she was laid to rest in a simple pine coffin. By her bedside were rosaries, prayer books, and, true to her unpretentious nature, a pack of cigarettes, Wyman's favorite guilty pleasure. The people close to her said she was a woman utterly unafraid of death. She knew where she was going, and she faced the end with quiet peace and unwavering faith. Think that's inspiring? Just wait. Our next Golden Age actress will leave you speechless. Number 9. Loretta Young. On the surface, Loretta Young was the perfect thespian, a woman who exudes grace, beauty, and morality both on and off the screen. But beneath the polished exterior was a far more complex figure, one who fought tooth and nail to navigate uncharted waters, being a Hollywood star while staying true to her Catholic faith. Similarly to Jane Wyman, Loretta Young never grew up in luxury. Her name wasn't even Loretta, to begin with. Born Gretchen Young in 1913, her mother, newly divorced and determined to start over, moved the family to Hollywood. Gretchen and her sisters were basically forced into acting not out of desire, but necessity. They worked as child extras, earning meager sums that barely kept the family afloat. Despite having a slow start in Tinseltown, though, Gretchen was destined for greatness. She was blessed with an otherworldly beauty, delicate features, doe-like eyes, and an unrelenting ambition. Hollywood producers saw it too, but agreed her name didn't match her ethereal charm. She was rechristened Loretta by Colleen Moore, the actress who spotted her potential, and with that, Gretchen Young disappeared, replaced by a starlet perfectly suited for the silver screen. Cast as extras and then in leading roles, Loretta Young's face was impossible to miss. Audiences trooped in numbers to see her performances. Fame and wealth were finally hers for the taking, but she never forgot her Gretchen roots. a devout Catholic woman, pure, wholesome, and beyond reproach. But that image would be her greatest struggle. Loretta Young, for all her faith and strict moral code, was a woman at odds with herself. She adored men and relished their company, even when it conflicted with her beliefs. Her brief romance with the married Spencer Tracy was proof of that, a Catholic man whose faith prevented him from seeking a divorce. Yet that affair would pale in comparison to what came next. Loretta Young fell pregnant in 1935. The father? Clark Gable. The duo had starred together in The Call of the Wild, and while their affair was brief, perhaps only a single night, it changed Loretta's life forever. Golden Age actors were bound by strict morality clauses, so she couldn't afford to have a baby, especially out of wedlock. Her Catholic upbringing was also strong, so abortion, though whispered about in Hollywood, was unthinkable to Loretta. It was a mortal sin. With scandal-hungry tabloids looming all over Young, life felt grim. So she devised a plan. Loretta continued working through the early months of her pregnancy, even filming The Crusades without anyone suspecting a thing. To cover her tracks, Loretta secretly gave birth to a baby girl named Judy, placed her in an orphanage, and staged her adoption 2 years later. Overwhelmed by guilt, Young swore to uphold her moral compass by declining roles that went against her personal values. She even fought against scripts that didn't align with her beliefs. As punishment, Young was suspended multiple times, sometimes for months, without pay. Tired of the back and forth, Young left the silver screen for good in 1953.
Oh, you can do that, Your Honor. I'm legally dead. Think it's nice to take money from a corpse?
Now that'll cost you $25 more.
Number 8. Irene Dunne. Renowned for her breathtaking comedic roles, Irene Dunne is easily one of the better thespians in Hollywood's golden age. But like the women who dominated the era, success was never handed on a golden plate. After her father's death at 14, Dunne's family moved from Kentucky to Indiana. She initially aimed to become an opera singer, but rejection from the Met led her to perform in Broadway musicals. She was eventually discovered by RKO and debuted in Hollywood with the 1930 musical Leathernecking. And boom, the path to stardom was traded. She went on to star in 42 films and earned 5 Academy Award nominations for Best Actress. Her notable performances included the western Cimarron, the screwball comedies Theodora Goes Wild and The Awful Truth, the romantic drama Love Affair, and the family drama I Remember Mama. Though she never won an Academy Award, notable critics feel her performances are underappreciated and certainly deserving of laurels. But hey, life doesn't always go the way we want. Many of her performances are largely forgotten, often overshadowed by later remakes and better-known co-stars. Could that have been the reason she felt unhappy in her heyday? Dunne herself noticed that God not only taught her to rely on Him in the tragedies of life, but also in the day-to-day experiences. Though she grew up in the Catholic faith, Dunne didn't always feel like she had a deep connection. Her epiphany came much later in her career as she gradually learned more about her faith. After retiring, Dunne focused on philanthropy and served as a U.S. delegate to the United Nations under President Eisenhower, promoting world peace and refugee aid. She also prioritized her family, spending time with her husband, Dr. Francis Griffin, and their adopted daughter, Mary Frances. Her charitable work earned her numerous honors, including honorary doctorates, the Laetare Medal from the University of Notre Dame, and a papal knighthood. In 1985, she was recognized with a Kennedy Center honor for her contributions to the arts. She also dedicated a chunk of her time to Christian bodies, including the Sister Kenny Foundation, the Archdiocesan Council of Catholic Women, the Santa Monica St. John's Hospital and Health Clinic in 1950, where she was elected president. Dunne passed away at 91 in her Holmby Hills home on September 4, 1990, after battling health issues for a year. She was laid to rest beside her husband in Calvary Cemetery, East Los Angeles, following a private funeral attended only by close family and friend Loretta Young. Number 7. Vanity. Singer, actress, Prince's unforgettable protege, much has been said and is known about Vanity's coming-of-age story. But believe me when I tell you that her tale is far more complex and turbulent than even some of her biggest fans realize. Born Denise Katrina Matthews in 1959, Vanity's rise to stardom began when Prince discovered her and shaped her into the sultry, bold frontwoman of Vanity 6, a group known for their provocative image and their biggest hit, Nasty Girl. With her undeniable beauty and charisma, Vanity embodied the daring spirit of the era. And boy, was she radical. She pushed boundaries with her risque lyrics and sensual stage presence, yet behind the facade was a woman spiraling into the darkest corners of addiction and self-destruction. Fame in the industry usually comes at a heavy price. For Vanity, it was substance abuse, leading to countless brushes with death and deteriorating health. Her lifestyle eventually caught up with her in the early 90s when she suffered a near-fatal overdose that left her kidneys severely damaged and in complete renal failure. The good news? The overdose became a turning point. While lying on her hospital bed, Denise experienced a profound spiritual awakening. Describing the event as a moment of God calling her to abandon her old ways, Denise renounced the vanity persona and severed all ties to her past. She destroyed her memorabilia, albums, photos, and videos, anything that reminded her of her days as Vanity. From then on, she dedicated herself to her faith, becoming a born-again Christian and traveling minister who shared her testimony across the world. She also founded Pure Hearts Ministries in California, using her struggles with addiction, fame, and the emptiness of her former life to inspire others to seek redemption and purpose. However, her health continued to suffer due to the years of drug abuse. In 1997, she received a kidney transplant but required daily dialysis for the rest of her life. In 2015, she was diagnosed with a rare and painful kidney disease that contributed to her passing away the following year. Her ashes were scattered off the coast of Hawaii, a serene final resting place for a woman who had endured so much in life. We can only take solace in the fact that she died a happy woman. Even as her health declined, her faith remained unshakable, and she left much of her estate to her church. Number 6. Colleen Townsen Evans. Born on December 21, 1928, in Los Angeles, Colleen was raised in a deeply devout Christian household. She began acting at just 15, cutting her teeth in local dramatic companies until a talent scout spotted her, leading to her first Hollywood contact with Warner Brothers. But she had to be patient. She was given a couple of uncredited roles in sentimental comedies until her beauty and natural charisma in the 1948 drama The Walls of Jericho were too bright to stay hidden. Magazine covers clamored to feature her radiant brunette charm, and Hollywood insiders were watching with rapt attention. She was even celebrated as one of Hollywood's most promising newcomers. She later proved that lightning could indeed strike in the same place twice with 2 more films, Chicken Every Sunday and, most notably, When Willie Comes Marching Home, alongside Daly and Corinne Calvert in 1950. Then, at what seemed like the peak of her career, Colleen made a decision that stunned Hollywood. She walked away. Yes, you heard right. She left the industry when the ovation was at its loudest. Dedicating her life to faith and service, her spirituality became a core part of her identity. She joined the Hollywood Presbyterian Church and married Louis H. Evans, Jr., a seminarian, starting a new chapter filled with purpose and conviction. Though Colleen later returned to acting in brief stints, it was only in religious films like Oiltown USA and Souls in Conflict, produced in partnership with the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. These projects aligned perfectly with her values, allowing her to use her platform to share messages of faith and redemption. Beyond church walls, Colleen served as a board member for World Vision and made history in 1986 as the first woman to chair a Billy Graham crusade. She also found a lot of joy in humanitarian work, particularly in issues like racial inequality, women's rights, and religious tolerance, proving once again that Hollywood stars can indeed make the world a better place. Though she never became one of the iconic stars of the Golden Age, for the sole reason she exited Tinseltown so early, the life and times of Colleen Townsen Evans is a refreshing story. Fascinated by her transformation? The next actress on our list also lived a life full of unexpected twists.
I don't know why I waste my time with you. I guess maybe it's because I like you. Funny, that's the first time I ever said that to a girl.
Oh, stop. The first time you ever told a girl you liked her.
My wife said I...
Number 5. Dolores Hart. Dolores Hart and Colleen Townsen Evans may not have had a lot of things in common on paper, but they sure know how to make dramatic exits from the film industry. Once poised to join the ranks of Hollywood royalty, Dolores Hart represented the true aristocracy of Hollywood: talent, elegance, and allure. But she left the glittering world of fame to follow a higher calling. Born Dolores Hicks on October 20th, 1938 in Chicago, Illinois, Hart's formative years were tough. With her parents separating when she was just 3, Dolores split her formative years between Chicago and Los Angeles. Yet nothing changed her desire to be a film star. Adopting the stage name Dolores Hart when she entered the film industry, her big break came in 1957 when she starred opposite Elvis Presley in Loving You. Sharing Elvis's first on-screen kiss was a career-defining moment that catapulted her to stardom. The world went wild, and the duo's electric chemistry on screen was infectious. Critics and audiences alike were utterly enthralled. Things could only go from there. As one of Hollywood's most sought-after actresses, Dolores lit up the screen in King Creole and Where the Boys Are, proving she wasn't just a one-trick pony. And her range extended far beyond the silver screen. She earned a Tony Award nomination for her Broadway performance in The Pleasure of His Company in 1959. She was even compared to industry giants like Grace Kelly. But beneath the surface, Dolores wrestled with a deeper spiritual calling, one that was ironically sparked by Elvis Presley himself. During a break on set, Elvis handed her a Bible, sparking conversations about faith that resonated deeply with her. It may not have been much at the time, but this encounter planted the seeds of her eventual decision to leave the industry. And then it happened. By 1963, at the height of her fame, Dolores left the world at a standstill by leaving Hollywood behind to join the Abbey of Regina Laudis, a cloistered Benedictine monastery in Connecticut. Both fans and colleagues were stunned. No one could imagine how someone with the world at her feet could abandon it all. An enraged director even warned her that she would never work in Hollywood again. But Dolores never wavered. As Sister Dolores, she embraced her new life with open arms, eventually becoming the prioress of the Abbey. Her remarkable story was later immortalized in the Oscar-nominated documentary God is the Bigger Elvis, which shed light on her transition and the peace she found in her spiritual journey. Far from regretting her choice, Dolores was never shy about talking about how her time in Hollywood informed her faith and strengthened her resolve. And frankly, I'm super happy for her. Walking away from worldly success to pursue inner fulfillment takes courage, and she shows the world the stuff she's really made of. And guess what? She made the decision all on her own. Up next, let's take a look at another actress whose choices left Hollywood and the world speechless.
We was gonna be married tonight, me and Frank. I was gonna be a lady for him and everything. I was trying so hard.
Number 4. Betty Hutton. Known far and wide as Hollywood's incendiary blonde of the 1940s and 50s, boomers will surely remember how Betty Hutton dazzled the world with her unmatched energy, commanding voice, and magnetic screen presence. But her life was anything but perfect. Growing up in Detroit during the Great Depression, Hutton was raised by her single mother, who supported the family by bootlegging. At just 3 years old, she began singing to entertain customers at her mother's speakeasy before orchestra leader Vincent Lopez discovered her by chance. Though she later went on to perform in his band, Betty Hutton's passion for entertainment sparked early when she watched the Charlie Chaplin film. Captivated by his genius, the youngster vowed to become a Hollywood icon and help her mother overcome her struggles with alcohol, a promise she was determined to fulfill. Thankfully, though, opportunities came quickly, and her big break arrived when Broadway producer Buddy DeSilva transitioned to Hollywood as Paramount's production head and brought Hutton along. Her start to life in Hollywood was great, but it took a dramatic turn in 1952 after a severe injury on the set of The Greatest Show on Earth. This was the beginning of a downward spiral for Hutton, culminating in her departure from Paramount and the end of her promising career in Hollywood. Despite brief periods of success, including her own TV show, The Betty Hutton Show, her personal struggles, including sadness, alcoholism, and the fallout from 4 failed marriages, overshadowed her professional life. The final straw was the death of her close friend, Judy Garland, to a drug overdose in the 70s. Hutton felt her life was unbearable and spiraling out of control. Luckily, a stranger came into her life, dragging her out of the depths of her despair. Father Peter McGuire at St. Anthony's Church in Portsmouth. His compassion and insights gave her the courage to confront her pain and embrace Catholicism. He told her she was only hurt and that life had so much more for her. Through her newfound faith, Hutton discovered peace and purpose. She completed her high school education, earned a master's degree in liberal studies from Sav Regina College, and found fulfillment teaching drama at Sav Regina and Emerson College. Betty Hutton passed away in 2007 at the age of 86, long after dedicating herself to helping others avoid the pain she endured. Her story is a powerful reminder that redemption is always possible, no matter how dark the path may seem. If you've made it this far, chances are that you're having a swell time. So why don't you hit the subscribe button and turn on your post notifications so you don't miss a beat? Done that already? Great. Here's another Hollywood faithful you need to see. Number 3. Audrey Hepburn. Academy, Emmy, Grammy, Tony, and Oscar award-winning actress Audrey Hepburn was a woman who really could do it all. Her acting skills were impeccable, her style was flawless, and she was a fashion icon in the 1950s and 60s. Though she grew up in a highbrow family, with her father being a British businessman and her mother, Ella van Heemstra, a Dutch aristocrat, most of Audrey's early childhood was littered with travesty. Her parents divorced when she was 6, and by 9 she was caught in between World War II. Hoping for safety in a neutral country, Audrey's mother moved her to the Netherlands, where she continued her education in private schools and developed into a talented young ballerina. However, their sense of security was short-lived in May 1940. After just 5 days of resistance, the Nazis invaded and occupied the Netherlands. Audrey's talent as a dancer gained her recognition at the City Theatre, making her a popular performer at secret Black Evenings. These underground events allowed artists who refused to join the Nazi Party to continue their craft and earn a living. Patriots attended these performances, raising funds to support thousands of Jews and others in hiding, both in her hometown of Velp and across the Netherlands. Take nothing away from her resilience, though. Hepburn never found her life easy. When she was confronted with the starvation of World War II, she felt alone and she had nothing. Fortunately, religion saved her. Though she never confessed what religion she truly believes in, many historians believed it was either Christianity or pantheism. It's also worth mentioning that her parents were Christians. Hepburn also noted to base her belief on a Bible verse: "Do not neglect to do good and to share what you have, for such sacrifices are pleasing to God." Hepburn had always believed in helping others, but the suffering she witnessed during the war reignited her passion for giving back. This experience led her to become involved with UNICEF, where she found a greater drive to help those in need. After retiring from acting, she dedicated herself to UNICEF as a sponsor and volunteer, making humanitarian work the focus of her final years. When diagnosed with appendiceal cancer, she chose to spend her remaining time with her family, helping them come to terms with her passing. It's speculated that hunger at an early age may have led to the illness that finally killed her at age 63. Despite her passing, Hepburn's legacy remains resolute. The American Film Institute ranked her 3rd among the greatest female stars of all time. She is one of the rare entertainers to have won an Academy Award, an Emmy, a Grammy, and a Tony Award. Additionally, she holds a record 3 BAFTA Awards for Best British Actress in a Leading Role.
So the Gladys Bentley. I thought your name sounded vaguely familiar. Gladys, how long have you been singing in nightclubs around the country?
For about 40.
Number 2. Gladys Bentley. While she wasn't exactly an actress in the sense that Gladys Bentley was a standout entertainer during the Harlem Renaissance and gained admiration from some of the top figures in the industry, she also embraced the eccentricities of life, performing at Harry Hansberry's Clam House, the city's most notorious gay speakeasy, and headlined at Harlem's Ubangi Club, where she was backed by drag queens. Born in Philadelphia, Gladys Bentley faced an unconventional and often difficult start to life. She was the eldest of 4 children in a struggling family and the target of her mother's harsh rejection. Bentley wasn't even touched by her mother as an infant because she desperately wished for a son. Ironically, Bentley grew up to be very uncomfortable with the stereotypical roles expected of girls, opting instead to wear boys' clothing and developing feelings for women. This angered her family even more, who felt her interests and desires were seen as abnormal and socially maladjusted. Think that's bad? It actually gets worse. Bentley was sent to doctors in an attempt to correct her behavior, a reflection of the harsh societal standards of the time. Tired of the harsh treatment, Bentley left home at 16, seeking refuge in New York City, where she quickly became a fixture in its vibrant nightlife. She frequented spots like the Clam House and the Ubongi Club. Bentley was known for her boldness, often performing in tuxedos and top hats, singing openly about her same-sex relationships, and unapologetically flirting with women in her audience. And then suddenly, Bentley had a complete revolution. She began dressing in more traditional feminine attire and even married Charles Robert in a civil ceremony in 1952. She also returned to her faith, claiming to be cured of her queerness by taking female hormones. Sadly, she died on January 18, 1960, at the age of 52. Her passing was initially attributed to the Asian flu, but was later confirmed to be pneumonia. By the time of her death, Bentley had fully committed to her church and had even been ordained as a minister, though she never completed the paperwork to make it official. Number 1. Myrna Loy. Hailed for her adaptability and versatility, Myrna Loy was one of the few actresses in the Golden Age who could seamlessly adjust to her screen partner's acting style. She was born in Helena, Montana. She spent her early childhood in rural Radersburg before later moving to Helena, before relocating to Los Angeles with her mother during her adolescence. There, she pursued a career in dancing, training extensively throughout her high school years. Her big break came when she was discovered by production designer Natasha Brambova, who helped her land auditions, leading to small roles in the late 1920s. At first, Loy was typecast in exotic roles as either women of Asian descent or vamps, but everything changed in 1934 when she portrayed Nora Charles in The Thin Man. Her brilliance in the film established her reputation as one of the industry's best actresses, capable of excelling in both drama and comedy. Viewers were never bored with her acting, and she even reprised the role of Nora Charles in 5 more films. The peak of this career came in the 1940s, with notable appearances in such hits as The Thin Man Goes Home, The Best Years of Our Lives, The Bachelor and the Bobby Soxer, and Mr. Blandings Builds His Dream House. As a devout Christian, Loy took a conscious hiatus from her acting career to devote herself to the war effort in World War II. She worked with the Red Cross and became an outspoken critic of Adolf Hitler, so much so that her name appeared on his blacklist. Her films were later banned in Germany, but she didn't care. She was committed to her country and global peace. Thankfully, her humanitarian efforts didn't go unnoticed. She was given an honorary Academy Award in 1991 for her contributions both on and off screen. And The Guardian named her one of the best actors never to have been nominated for a competitive Academy Award. Sadly, not even an angel like Loy could live forever. She passed away in December 1993 at the age of 88, following a long illness. Her final days were marked by frailty, which prevented her from attending the 1991 Academy Awards ceremony, where she was set to receive her honorary Oscar. Though we had a lot of fun, we've sadly come to the end of today's video. The lives of these 10 women are worth reminiscing about, and we'll never forget them. Be sure to like, subscribe, and check out the video on your screen for more unforgettable Hollywood stories. See you in the next one.